actually low-key Pirates on October. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say we're live. We're live. Let me get this out to the
Okay, there we go.
wonderful.
Well, we always have the intro of us just mumbling about, and there
Something.
you are. But yeah, anyway, so I'm thinking October 2nd, I actually do kind of want to be at that Cardinals Pirates game because that is likely going
Oh,
to be
shit.
the
Gotcha.
last time we
I
see
got
Albert
you.
Pujols.
I'm going to change the thing because it is not WrestleMania predictions.
Hmm. Ooh la la, you definitely are going to divide the audience soon.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me get this
Well,
date.
get me a 2x4 and an all-American patriotic flag made in China. And I did not know where I was going with that.
Someone likes it. There we go.
Yeah.
It's the right date
Go out
now.
to the tweeters too. Oh,
Yep.
Raybo in
They're
the
in the
house.
house. Yep. Do the work. Do the work indeedy.
I'm wearing an Adam Cole Bebe shirt.
I'm sorry.
I'd rather be a Bebe than a hooker.
I'm wearing a Smalls Meat Market shirt.
Meat market?
Yeah, it's a place from the town that I was born and raised in, and it has a big bull on the back of it, and the slogan is "Nobody beats our meat."
How family friendly.
It is very family
It's
friendly.
very
They have
family
great
friendly.
ham salad.
I believe.
It's very family friendly if your mind's not in the gutter.
Yeah. What are you thinking about? They just have superior meat
No,
selections
I'm just thinking of how
to feed your family.
I'm gonna love just cooking you guys some barbecue because I make some damn good meats myself. And
We'll
actually, I
definitely have to.
discovered a website that apparently for about like $100+ a month, you get some meat
Omaha.
shipped to you. It's called
Omaha,
Butcher Box.
Omaha Steaks? You going to
Sadly, not
Omaha
Omaha
Steaks?
Steaks. Butcher
No,
Box.
he's talking about something else.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Us Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and the thing's all cattywampus, so it was turning up when I meant to turn it down. And well, we have quite a lot to
enjoy
talk
the
about.
show here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long one, folks. It's gonna be a long one. So hope you guys will settle in and have a drink and a snack and all those good things, cause it's gonna be cray cray up in here. But yeah. So might as well just get the intro out of the way. This is the Just Us Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I met CJ here locally. I met Easy at All In and Starcast. Nick is unfortunately under the weather and not joining us this week. We love wrestling. We love talking wrestling. We love sharing our love of pro wrestling with each and every one of you out there. However, just like each and every one of you out there, we're just fans. Our opinions are that of any other fan. We avoid insider terms because at the end of the day, we are just marks. And if there's one thing that marks really enjoy is prizes. And I know CJ has the spreadsheet for all the scores, but
Negative Ghost Rider.
Oh, actually, I do. No, I have the spread. Wow, that is true. This is the first time like the spreadsheet was on my own stuff.
Yeah, I trusted him with the spreadsheet, so if something bad happened, it's his fault.
Yeah, but
don't blame the accountant.
The number one, undisputed number one, was Obi the Kid, who entered on Instagram. He won with, well, let me just look here on numbers, maybe.
And I'm just the guy that looks for sponsors, and I'm failing.
There's
and
numbers.
We're begging you, Omaha Steaks. We are begging you.
Yeah, Omaha Steaks would be great.
I'll see what I can do. Like, legit, I will see what we can do.
All right, here we go. Yeah, here. It's downloading. I have to do this on
Or we can get Denhausen to sponsor us. He can be part of his vlog.
No, but he wants our human monies.
Yeah, he wants our human monies.
We give him human money so he can give us some human money.
No, I don't got human money.
I don't think that. I think that'd be counterproductive to his search for a blimp. But yes, Bob won with 15 points. However, we have a three-way tie for second and third. So that means one of the three-way tie is unfortunately going to end up empty-handed. And that three-way tie is Michaela, who entered on Facebook, Joseph, who entered on Facebook, and Michelle, who entered on Facebook as well. So, unfortunately, first of all, I appreciate everybody for playing and entering. We're going to put these here in this victorious hat. And we're going to see who drew or who wins second. And second belongs to Michaela. So congratulations, Michaela, for winning second place. And third place is Marcel. So, sorry, Joseph. Sorry you're walking away empty-handed, but fear not. You're free to enter for double or nothing. And we got some big prizes for double or nothing, so feel free to enter again. Thank you all for playing. All right, so Marcel is first. And by the way, Marcel, your other prizes are back at the old house, which I can still get into and send to you. So fear not. This will be going in with those. And you have won a comic book for third place. And you have won Bullseye #1 reprint. All right. So congratulations, Marcel. And Michaela, she also gets a comic book, and it will be a Man-Wolf #1 reprint. So awesome for her. And she also gets an action figure. And her action figure will be an X-Pac. It's an X-Pac action figure. So congratulations there. But now it's time for Bob, the big winner, the undisputed winner. He gets a comic book, and his comic book is X of Swords #15. His figure is a Brian Kendrick action figure. He also gets a DVD, which is the NWO Back in Black DVD. He gets a t-shirt. And his t-shirt is a King Ricochet t-shirt. He gets the bonus prize because he scored higher than me, which will be
that all-in poster.
Absolutely not. Especially now, because that's not that.
Hey, I gotta keep the running gag going.
That's especially not going to be now, because I don't know if that's you're ever going to see those 3 signatures on anything ever again. He gets a Victoria autographed picture.
Okay, I'm jealous.
And,
although I've met Victoria as well, but still, I'm jealous.
Yeah, I bought her a glass of wine and got a free picture with her at StarCast. And he also gets as a bonus prize this copy of Scott E. Williams' Hardcore History, The Unauthorized Story of ECW. Great book. Definitely
adding in the ooh audience sound effect.
So,
that's what we need. We need a sound effects board.
You want to pay for it?
Maybe.
Okay.
But I don't live in the St. Louis area.
That's okay. You can just.
It's downloadable.
Yeah, they have them on Amazon.
Fine. You can ship it to our home address.
Yeah. You can. All right. So, WrestleMania. First of all, haven't seen Supercard of Honor yet. I've heard great things. Obviously, from watching Dynamite, I know the ending to one of the matches, but I still heard it's an amazing match. But yeah, we can't give a full rundown of Supercard yet. But definitely seems like ROH is heading in the direction it needs to be going in. So, huzzah
So
there.
CJ predicted the future.
Yeah. Said it wasn't over yet, and it was not. So, all right. We're
Well,
not
again,
gonna.
this was before I thought Tony Khan was actually going to buy them. I never thought that.
So
There's plenty of marks with money that was going to buy that. He wasn't the only one talking about it. So.
Yeah.
Probably even Samoa Joe was asking WWE to buy ROH.
Apparently, Freddie Prinze Jr. Really wants to own a wrestling company, so someday we're going to probably see that come to fruition.
Probably.
That'll be interesting.
That will be interesting. All right, so WrestleMania, everyone. WrestleMania.
Stupendous.
It was something. It was truly, it was a sight to behold this year. And it's, yeah.
Yeah, it happened. Like, I'm just like,
no,
I don't know what to.
I'm not going to say it happened. Like, it was a mixed bag. Like, I'm trying to think of the right way of saying this because this.
Was it better or worse than last year?
Better. No question.
1,000 times better.
Yeah. But I'm trying to use my words carefully because this was as far as here in this here old internet, in the wrestling community on such, it was quite the toxic weekend with, this being a good WWE event. So therefore the WWE drones and stands and marks and fanboys and fangirls were out in full force saying AEW can't do anything like that. This is terrible. AEW is terrible. You can't have put on a show like WrestleMania, which was obnoxious. And then you had, in contrast, the AEW fans, whenever we're like, oh, hey, that was a good match. Here's a reminder that Kenny Omega wrestled somebody, and they had a 6-star match in AEW.
It's basically kind of like bragging to friends of yours that have kids. Like, hey, here's why my kid's better than yours.
Kind of.
It
was pretty much anytime they're like, hey, that was a good match. You thought that was good? Need I remind you that the Young Bucks had a 6.5-star match at AEW with Rey Fenix and Pac. And it was internet toxicity at its very finest, and it got more toxic. We're not going to go match by match.
There's even some people going after me for being toxic. It's like, listen, I just don't care. It happened. That's all I'm going to say. I would still love to go to a WrestleMania again one day. It's just, I don't know.
Actually, we will skim match by match. We'll start off with night one, match one. Heart goes out to Rick Boogs. Feels so bad for the guy. You get a match at WrestleMania. And you tear your ACL.
Your WrestleMania debut.
Yeah.
Where I have a feeling he was supposed to win a championship.
Yeah, even worse. He was probably supposed to win, his first championship in WWE, and you tear your ACL, and fuck, dude, that just sucks.
He tore his ACL and his patella.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's
bad.
That's bad. That's very, very bad.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for at least a year. Do what?
It was nice knowing you. That's what I said.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe not to be Nakamura's partner by the time he comes back.
Next match was Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Poor Drew McIntyre. It was like they did. I will say this: like him kicking out of the end, being the first one to kick out of the end of days. They unlike what WWE normally does, they hype this up as like a big fucking deal. Like, holy, no one's ever kicked out of that before. And then he, cut the ring ropes with a sword, which was kind of cool. I'm not gonna, but he did the best of what that he could with Happy Corbin. But I just feel bad. His biggest WrestleMania moment was, at the height of COVID, and there was not even a Thunderdome, much less any fans at that time. And then last year he couldn't win the title in front of any fans. He had to just kind of. So I feel bad for poor Drew McIntyre. So yeah, I don't know.
At least he got something.
Yeah, at least he got
mean,
something.
Not...
At least he wasn't just fodder to Roman Reigns like he was at the WrestleMania I went to.
Yeah.
Although I did miss a really badass entrance that he did. Because I decided to go to the bathroom because I thought Roman was coming out first. Because I don't give two shits about him. Again, at that time.
Yeah. Next match, The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Look, I'm not saying Logan Paul's a good person in the slightest, but that match was better than it had any right to be. Like,
Bad Bunny had a better match. I'm just letting y'all know.
Logan Paul wrestled better than
I
thought he would.
don't think Bad Bunny had a better wrestling match than Logan Paul did. I think that in terms of
because Bad
people
Bunny is at least liked by people, which I acknowledge.
Yeah, but
Logan Paul is the biggest dipshit in the entire world. I don't care that he was heel. He is
but you're not
supposed
to like him.
No, but in real life, nobody is supposed to like him. He's not supposed to get any sort of acknowledge.
No,
he
he
is
can
a
still be
spoiled,
acknowledged, just like
he's a spoiled influencer that can get away with filming in a Japanese forest that is known for horrific suicides, and of course the allegations that he is a women abuser or whatever. But either way, no. Well, both him and Jake, but either way, they're still dipshits.
Well, they're dipshits, but they wrestled well, and you know what? The Miz got the win, so at least they didn't give.
At least with the Miz, he's at least playing to being the bad guy. I can actually respect him at least outside of the WWE. I don't respect Logan Paul, period.
Well, you're not supposed to respect him. You don't have to like him. He's not supposed to be a good guy.
No, it was just way better watching Kevin Owens just stun him. And I am still looking for that chair shot to his head, but that's just me. So I'm just going to leave it at that. The more I talk about it, the more I'm going to have to consult more with my therapy.
I think he's a shitty person, but he was on the show, and the match was better than it had any right to be. I will say that much, and it all ended up being to put the Miz over, which is just fine in my book.
Yeah.
Next match was probably the match of both days, in my opinion. Bianca Belair defeated Becky Lynch to win the Raw Women's Championship. Becky's cool. I like Becky. I mean, I was wanting to see her lose because I'm kind of getting over Becky, which is the right thing to do because that's her character now. But I will say this. I remember there was a joke made that, her husband needs to learn how to be safe like Becky in the ring. Well, you might not want to say that anymore because she really fucked up Bianca's eye. But Bianca won in the end. Match of the whole weekend to me. Oh. Anything else anybody else want to add?
I was busy. I'm sorry.
I watched it. I loved it. We talked about like internet toxicity and stuff. Everybody wants to bitch about WWE can't make a new star. They just cemented a new female star.
And they did a long-term build to it. Something happened at SummerSlam, and not like as long-term as AEW's done, but something happened at SummerSlam, and it lasted, and the payoff happened at WrestleMania.
And they told the whole story. They told the story in the match where Becky started out trying to win just like she did at SummerSlam this year. And Bianca had her number this time. And Bianca taking it the next Monday on Raw, like Becky tried to take my hair. She tried to take my voice. She even tried to take my eye. Like, she's continued the story. So
You know what's
Does
awesome?
WWE do the best job that they possibly can? Absolutely not. Can they tell a story when they want to? Can they build stars when they want to? Absolutely. And they just did it.
You know what's
And
awesome? Bianca is 2-0 at WrestleMania.
yep.
Yeah.
So make a streak.
She
And
doesn't even have to make a streak. She's a made woman. That's it. She's done.
yeah.
Like, she's a superstar.
And speaking of somebody who's coming back as a superstar, it was Seth freaking Rollins versus what was going to be TBA, and it was not. And you know what? They didn't troll the audience. It didn't end up being Goldberg.
Or Shane O'Mac.
Or Shane.
It didn't end up being Shane.
I was literally waiting for Shane. Like, please.
This was Shane's spot before Cody signed.
Yeah. It wasn't Shane. It wasn't Undertaker. It wasn't Goldberg. It wasn't something. Nope. It was straight up Cody Rhodes.
It was the American Nightmare.
It was the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. It was not Smoke and Mirrors.
Kingdom Cody Rhodes.
It was not Dashing Cody Rhodes. It wasn't Disfigured Cody Rhodes. It wasn't Stardust. It wasn't Create a Wrestler Personality Cody Rhodes from his early days. This was straight up the Cody Rhodes that we have been watching since 2017 in a WWE ring at WrestleMania to a straight up WrestleMania moment.
Now, I want to say, just as a disclaimer, because I made a
We're going to talk more about Cody a lot more after we get done reviewing the rest of the card. So stay with us.
Yeah. But it's like, I just quickie, that's like, I heard one thing, and then apparently it was like, no, it was a much louder reaction to him coming out. It's like, I literally thought the crowd was just mild.
I thought it was too, until I saw some recordings from people who were in the arena.
Yeah. And I watched the replay on Twitter, like, oh, okay, you know, all right, my mistake. But again, that's how toxic Twitter got, because it's like, what do you think about the when Cody came back? It's like, okay, yeah, cool. Keep hiding behind your keyboard if you want to try to prove it wrong. Cool, it's for you.
Well, unfortunately, as AEW fans, was not a good day for our fan base when it came to toxicity and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. It wasn't a good day for wrestling fans.
It should have been a good day for wrestling fans, but it was not.
Should have been a great day for wrestling fans, but everybody's got to be tribal about shit and not just enjoy good wrestling when it's good wrestling.
You know, I understand not liking wrestling when it's like something you don't enjoy or like something that's objectively bad. I am not one of the, hey, why don't you just sit down, shut up, and like it? You know, like everybody told us, hey, just sit down, shut up, and like the Royal Rumble. Like, you're at the Royal Rumble, so shut up and like it. I'm not about that. But when you're looking for reasons to not like a show because reasons, or looking for reasons to just shit on someone's enjoyment of a show, I don't have a whole hell of a lot for you. But yeah, this was the second best match of the weekend. It was a great match. Like, it wasn't as good as Bianca and Becky, but it was a great match. And Cody seemed like a bigger deal than he ever has in his career. Like, maybe with the exception of All In. And even that's like, it's neck and neck. Because, I mean, this was, I don't know. Like, this is, yeah. We're going to talk more about Cody later. Next match, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey sucks. Ronda Rousey is really not that good. Brock Lesnar, when he's on his A game, is like, can't really like deny him. Ronda Rousey, I have all the denial. Denial is not just a river in Africa when it comes to people saying that, trying to make me believe that Ronda Rousey is a good wrestler.
I think that she has the ability to have good matches when she's paired with someone who can do that, when she's paired with the right person. When she was with Triple H and Kurt, she had a great match.
She needs to be carried.
And she's green.
Yeah.
She's 3 years into this, and she took 2 years off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what everybody expects from her. Not everyone coming from MMA or technical wrestling or any other sport is going to be a natural at this. I'm looking at you, Gable Steveson.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But now we come to the highlight of the show. So I think we're gonna get a KO show with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and instead it turns into a impromptu, out of retirement, first time in 19 years match for Stone Cold Steve Austin against Kevin Owens. Hey,
No holds barred.
no holds barred. Just amazing. You don't. I'm not going to say anything more about it. I'm going to make you watch the other videos on my channel. Check out the Geeking Out podcast that dropped yesterday to hear my full thoughts on that match as I went through my top 10 favorite WrestleMania main events. And spoiler alert, this one is on there. So,
it was an honorable mention. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to spoil it.
It's on the main list. I'll even spoil that for you.
Okay. It's your show.
So you were not entertained by this?
I'm not saying I'm not entertained by it. I'm just saying, like, because I just had other stuff going on that day.
Yeah.
That's, I'm acknowledging that it happened. If I ever get a chance to actually watch their fight, okay, awesome. I'll be entertained.
Oh, you got to watch it. This Stone Cold in these kind of he's not what he was in 1998. Obviously, he's older. He's hurt. Things happen. But the 10-year-old girl in me that would drop every single thing that was ever going on and run to the front of the TV and glue myself to it like I have not done before or since was screaming with glee.
And
I didn't want to hype myself up for this. I didn't want to be like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. I'm like, it's just gonna be a KO show. Yeah, it's going to be him talking, which is going to be great. You're going to be entertained. Stone Cold with a mic is perfect. That's fine. Tra-la-la. And when the knee pads were on, when he came out, the 10-year-old was like,
wait a minute.
What's going on? What's going to happen? He's going to do more than one stunner? And then, he comes out on the four-wheeler and they sit there and I can see that there's no stuff in the ring.
I love the fact he came out with the ATV. That was epic.
To me,
I mean, he didn't have to for me. That was like older Stone Cold for me.
Well, yeah, but to me, like when I think Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't think ATV. I think of the BMF, power walk to the ring. That's what I think of.
With the freaking leather vest and the smoking skull. The ATV was Commissioner Austin.
Yeah.
So that was, while still entertaining, it was not the arrive, raise hell, leave Stone Cold Steve Austin of my childhood that cemented the wrestling forever.
To me, like on the flip side of that, like that's all great, but to me it was just kind of like I want to go back in time and tell 2008 me Kevin Owens is going to main event a WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I want to go back in time and tell last year's you that we absolutely do have to go to Dallas for WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, this made me regret the decision not to go. That is the one thing that made me regret not going to Dallas.
I was actually considering last year going to this, but I thought, you know what? No, there was just other things that I had planned, like going to the Indy 500, which I think would be way better.
Now, I want some public acknowledgement here. When they announced that they were going to go to Dallas for WrestleMania, what were the two things I told you were going to happen at WrestleMania?
Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to be there. Undertaker
would retire there.
And bad flashbacks to WrestleMania 32.
It's better than 32 for sure. But no, like for me, and I, like any child of the Attitude Era loved Stone Cold Steve Austin, but for me it was just kind of like Kevin Steen main event at WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve. Kevin Steen got Stone Cold Steve Austin's final match. That is just
allegedly.
I think this will be it.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Stone Cold said, "My career began in Dallas, Texas, and now I have a chance for my career to end in Dallas, Texas." So
Okay.
He didn't like the way it ended, even though with The Rock he knew that was his last match. Nobody else really did. And he didn't get, I mean, he did the honors, which is fine, but it wasn't the right ending. This was the right ending.
The only thing that made that somewhat right was it was Rock, and that was it.
And he passed the torch.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Stone Cold won here, he still kind of passed the torch to Kevin Owens.
Just Kevin Owens having that moment passes the torch to Kevin Owens.
Yeah. Kevin Owens got to do the thing that we all kind of always wanted to do.
Wrestle Steve Austin. Especially because he was a child of that era. Like nobody,
he was a super fan.
No, the thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin is Stone Cold didn't get to keep wrestling for the people like us and Kevin who grew up watching Stone Cold to get that match. You know, Shawn came back and all the people that Shawn influenced got to wrestle Shawn. You know, the people now are being influenced by guys like Bryan and Punk and, you know, Cena, and all those guys are getting to wrestle those, you know, them now. Nobody got that with Stone Cold because he had to retire so soon. So Kevin was the first guy that grew up idolizing Austin to get to wrestle Austin.
And probably is going to be the only guy that grew up with Austin that actually got to have the match.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He absolutely 100,000% lived a dream for millions of people. And he knows it. He understands exactly. That's why he bumped the shit out of himself that whole match. He sold like his life depended on it.
And I'll say that it's like, I said this in a group chat. I said, to me, like, this was like the ultimate version of like the Legend coming back for the independent match. And what I mean by that is, you know, whenever we go to these indie shows and they have a legendary wrestler like the Honky Tonk Man, or, you know, I'm not going to say Rock and Roll Express because they still kind of go, but, or Haku, or Jerry Lawler, or, you know, Demolition. They go in there, they kind of play the hits. They don't really bump, but, you know, they kind of get put in jeopardy. They play the hits. Huzzah. This was like, okay, Austin didn't have to do like all the technical wrestling that he could do. Just need to throw some punches and, you know, do a few moves and throw a few stunners, and that's all we wanted to see. And allow himself to be put into jeopardy more than probably any of us thought he would. You know?
Yeah, and he took several bumps. He took a lot of bumps that I didn't ever think he would.
Yep. So, yeah. Loved everything about that. There was nothing. Anybody who wants to go like, oh, well, you don't know that Ring of Honor put on a Match of the Year candidate and you're all excited about that. It's like, yeah, Ring of Honor did put on a Match of the Year candidate and I can't wait to watch it. But like, let's take off the tribal hat. Let's take off the we got to stand for our favorite promotion that's not WWE hat, and recognize that Stone Cold Steve Austin, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time, arguably the biggest well-known wrestler of all time.
Yeah, that's not arguable.
Yeah. Had a match against somebody who grew up wanting to wrestle him, who, one, never was considered a WWE guy, never was considered like the kind of guy that made it in a WrestleMania. Guy. Never would consider a guy that would be main eventing WrestleMania. Got to do both of those things against the biggest wrestler of all time. That's amazing. That's special. And I don't care what company you prefer. That's special. So we go to night 2. RK Bro defeated the Street Profits in Alpha Academy. It was there. Bobby Lashley defeated Omos. It was there. Johnny Knoxville defeated Sami Zayn in another match that was better than it had any right to be.
And it's not just Johnny Knoxville, it's the entire Jackass crew.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people were upset about this. I mean, there was kind of my moment of Sami Zayn just lost to a non-wrestler. But to be fair, it's not like Sami Zayn got out-wrestled by Johnny Knoxville. It's not like Johnny Knoxville went in and fucking Brock Lesnar squashed him. Like, there was shenanigans and weapon shots aplenty.
Sami Zayn didn't lose a wrestling match to a non-wrestler. Sami Zayn lost a Jackass match to a Jackass guy.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he apparently had the time of his life doing it. So good on him. And it was entertaining.
Again, going back to when I first became aware of, not Sami Zayn, but a guy who retired that wrestles move for move like Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I never would have thought he'd be on TMZ and would be a mainstream celebrity for, at any point in time. And, the guy that wrestles, that patted himself after that wrestler I liked, he was on TMZ and he was trending on, media outlets that were not just with wrestling. That's fucking cool. How we looking, guys? Hello? Guys? Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, we had like a lull.
I was like literally it was literally at such bad timing where I say, hey, Jackass Forever was a great movie, and then suddenly like, oh, shit,
and then you're gone. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's it. That was the line. I thought
that's the trigger. Apparently, I broke a geek by saying Jackass Forever was great. Which it's a great movie, by the way. Just watch it.
We lost connection here, and so we had a little buffer problem. So hopefully we're good now.
We can see
if anybody's in the chat, let me know.
Yeah.
How we're looking now. But anyway, yeah, I was so frustrated. CJ and I were so frustrated with Michael going like, "Oh, Sasha Banks always brings her A game to WrestleMania." It's like, kayfabe, bro. Like, you don't say that about somebody who's never won. I put out the tweet. It's like saying Jim Kelly always brought his A game to the Super Bowl, or Brad Keselowski always brings his A game to the Daytona 500, or the Andretti's always bring their A game to the Indy 500. But yeah, it's a whatever match. And speaking of a match that ended up being a whatever match that I really didn't want to be, Edge versus AJ Styles. I don't know, this was some AJ Nakamura stuff. Like, I wanted to love this match and wanted it to be everything I dreamed of and more, and alas, it was not.
I think they are obviously going to revisit this. This is not a one and done kind of deal, so they probably save their tricks. Like, once the ending happened, I kind of slacked off on how I felt about this match because I wasn't a big fan. I'm like, oh, this is probably not the end of this, so we're going to get a whole feud.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It was what left me disappointed, which I hate to say. It kind of goes back to like the way AJ's kind of sort of been in WWE. AJ's best matches in WWE have not really always been with like the indie darlings. He had the one good match with Bryan, but like all of AJ's best matches have been with like people that are not like internet favorites. They've been with Roman or Cena or Shane or a Boneyard match.
Cena AJ at the Royal Rumble has honestly been my favorite match. AJ Styles.
Mine was the SummerSlam, but I mean the Rumble's up there. But yeah, like all those matches were like, you'd think whenever I'd say like, man, look at AJ's best WWE matches, you think I'd be talking about Ambrose and Jericho and all of the Daniel Bryan matches and not just one, and Nakamura and Samoa Joe. But no, it was it's been Shane and Cena and Roman and a Boneyard match. So
And to think PWI actually voted him Wrestler of the Decade.
I
wouldn't be sad about his WWE booking.
I don't feel. Oh, okay. Well, over the 2010s. Yeah, but think about this. Voting him Wrestler of the Decade, he was on top of TNA. He was a big star in ROH. He was 2 times over the IWGP champion. Had great match with John Cena, won the WWE title twice, and had a year-long plus title reign. Like, that's Wrestler of the Decade to me.
Of course, leader of the Bullet Club at that time.
Whenever he was in the Bullet Club, they said they didn't have a leader.
Whatever.
No, that's honestly what the storyline was. There is no leader here in the Bullet Club. We are, we're all together and we're Bullet Club for life. Except for AJ Styles eventually. That's what King said. Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeated the New Day. We're gonna skip talking about that because I went to to get a beer and I missed it. Another match that was better than I thought it would be, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised because Pat's great. Pat McAfee defeated Austin Theory. Pat McAfee's fucking awesome. Fuck anyone that doesn't think so.
I acknowledge that. I've been on that boat for a long time, so.
Pat McAfee, like, again, want to live vicariously through somebody like Pat McAfee. He is just like
living his best life.
He is living his best life. He is a former pro football player who was a big wrestling fan. Like this was like my dream. It's like a as a high schooler, it's like I want to go play college football, then I want to go play pro football, and then I want to wrestle. Like I literally in my senior year of high school drew like your dream room, and my dream room was me with the WWE title, the Intercontinental title, and like a Heisman Trophy and a Super Bowl ring. So he didn't get the Heisman Trophy, and he got an AFC Championship ring, but still close enough. He's living his best life, and that's just cool. I would not complain if Pat McAfee went full-time in the ring. I would not complain in the slightest. But that turned into Mr. McMahon versus Pat McAfee. Not as good, but especially when Austin gave him the worst stunner ever. That made me sad because, like, McMahon always took bad stunners, but, like, at least he would take the stunner. Seeing this was, like, confirmation, like, yeah, your childhood's over. McMahon can't even take a stunner anymore.
Yeah. You're old, he's old.
He took in Brooklyn for Raw 1000. Or whatever that night was.
So Raw 1000 was in St. Louis.
No, sorry, it was the Raw 20. It was the Raw, like, 35th anniversary or something, or
25th.
Anniversary.
We're not. Okay. I'm not 35, and I am older than Raw.
All right, okay. It's been a long day. Okay. I went to the theater today.
And finally, we have the winner-take-all match. Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar. I'm glad Roman won because that just needed to happen. The match, I didn't love it, but again, I didn't really feel the need to talk about how, a few weeks ago, the Young Bucks had a better match. I didn't feel the need to do that. It was what it was. I do make this. I make this comparison for these type of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Wrestlers are like comic book and superheroes and all this stuff come life. Sometimes you need a layered, deep, emotional roller coaster ride like Dark Knight or Winter Soldier or Logan, and sometimes you just need Hulk and Thor beating the shit out of each other. These sort of matches are the wrestling equivalent of here's just Hulk and Thor having a fucking fight, and that's all it needs to be. Maybe that's not everybody's bag. That's fine. But not everything has to be. Not every comic book movie can be like Dark Knight, and this is like not every wrestling match has to be or needs to be like Okada and Omega or Flair and Steamboat. So, yep. What do you think, CJ? Because I know you're probably the biggest Brock Lesnar fan of the bunch right now.
Right now or always? Both.
If Nick was in here, I'd say there'd maybe be like he'd be close,
But no, he's not beating me. Sorry.
I said close. I didn't say he'd beat you.
No, I said that Roman was going to win. Brock is signed for a longer deal than he normally signs for. So I think we're getting like another match between the two of them. I didn't love this match. They've both gone out and had better matches. I didn't mind that it was short. It ended kind of abruptly and weird.
Yeah.
And that was strange to me, and I'm not sure what's up with that. But no, I was fine with the match, and I was fine with the ending for sure.
Yeah.
It is. I don't. As big of a fan of Brock as I am, what are you going to do with Brock having both belts? You're in the same predicament that you are now with Roman. You really don't have anybody to challenge for it, but you have more opportunity with Roman than you do with Brock.
Right.
And honestly, I'm enjoying what Roman's doing. They've got this whole storyline where he is like the longest reigning modern champion. He has the longest streak reign going since like Hogan.
Yeah.
And they tout it, and that's kind of cool. And whoever does take these belts from Roman, one or both, is also going to be very well made. That's going to be whoever takes these belts, one or both, is going to be a big deal.
Yep.
No matter how it happens, it's going to be a really big deal. And that's because they've done a really good job at building up Roman Reigns and being this destroyer, being in God mode. So I don't have a problem with it at all.
Nope. At the end of the day, at least the right person won. That's about the only thing I can say about it.
I was disappointed that we didn't get like a Rock entrance at the very end. Like,
dang it!
It was odd.
Bobby Heenan did say by the time the Iron Sheik got to the ring, it was going to be WrestleMania 38. Though I believe he's from Iran. But said you want a Rock entrance. He was General.
That was a real stretch, sir.
He was General Adnan from Iraq.
I wanted an Iron Sheik entrance, but he's not in very good shape. So,
but he's still in good enough shape to say "fuck a Hulk Hogan."
He will always be in good enough shape to say "fuck a Hulk Hogan."
Now, on April Fools, he'll go Hulk Hogan's the best.
Oh God.
So yeah, that is WrestleMania. Now it's time.
I have my views too.
What do you think about Hulk Hogan?
No, it was I didn't say anything about the winner take all match.
Oh, go ahead. You haven't watched most of WrestleMania.
I did watch this. I actually did watch this match. So as a disclaimer, I'm going to say this because this is y'all did not remember that long ass chat we had. Anyways, so I also didn't have a problem with who won. It's just I had a problem with how long this went. And by that, I mean, it was fucking short, in my opinion. Like, this is the biggest hype match that WWE is trying to do. And I was seriously trying to give them as much credit as I wanted because I actually loved every single moment of what we had for this match. But the fact that it ended abruptly because apparently, Roman popped his shoulder, they had to end it quick or whatever. But it's like, y'all could... Well, I don't know. But anyways, but putting aside like injuries, this could have been the best match that Roman and Brock had at Mania. It could have. Unfortunately, it just wasn't.
Obi, thanks for coming. We've already drawn prizes, but I think you'll like what you got.
Yeah. But anyways, it's like I was actually low-key thinking, ref turns his back for a quick minute and the Usos, they start jumping on Brock. Or, I don't know, Brock kind of just tries to take out the Usos, and maybe he even takes out Paul Heyman if he took a quick bump.
I
would have
like
got it the shock value. That's what I was looking for.
like it. I
There
like the
was
fact
no
that
shock
Roman.
value for this match.
I think the shock value was that fucking Roman just won, like just went like that and did it to Brock Lesnar. That was the shock value of the match.
It shocked me. It was like, why was this match so short? And it's like,
The shock value of this match is like the equivalent of like, it's like Tom Brady throwing a pick six to lose the Super Bowl. It's like, oh, like he's making his big comeback and then he throws an interception. They run back like, oh, well now Tom Brady has no chance at winning now. It's like, oh, huh. Wow.
We did get that last year. They make a comeback against the Rams only to lose on a field goal.
I'm talking about the Super Bowl. It's never happened.
I know.
It's happened on the grandest stage. Tom Brady's had
We did kind of see Brady try to make his big comeback, and then all of a sudden he actually did fall short.
But never in the Super Bowl. He was always playing from behind when it's in the Super Bowl, or he never had like the chance. But that's what this was. This was like. This was just somebody kind of, I don't want to use the word like emasculating Brock Lesnar, but it was just kind of like somebody at WrestleMania taking Brock Lesnar to fucking school and cutting him off at the fucking pass. It just made this main event
look weak. I just didn't think it lived up to the expectations we were hoping for. Like, I wanted a fight. Like, I'm not looking for an hour-long fight, but I mentioned on our chat that like my picture perfect main event worthy match should be like a 20 to 25 minute match. If there's some shenanigans involved, cool, but don't let that distract the entirety of the fights. So,
but here's the thing:
I didn't care who was going to win either.
I will say that
wins, obviously.
I will ask you this:
yeah,
if this want to hit the 20-minute mark, 25-minute mark that you say that this match has to have, and it started to drag on, and it started to get boring, and it started to lose the fans. If it was essentially like 34, where this match should have ended in about 15 minutes, and it kept going, and going, and going, and going, and going, and going to the point that no one gave a fuck in that building, would that be better? Like, to hit that mark and them kind of exhaust themselves and turn the fans away, that the fans in that building away, like, make them lose interest?
Those for literally 15 minutes. We're talking about 34.
But, again, it started going on too long at 15 minutes. You always, if Roman was wrestling AJ, or if Roman were wrestling Bryan, cool. Go 25 minutes. If Brock were wrestling AJ or Bryan, go 25 minutes. When they're wrestling each other, they don't mesh well enough to have that time period. Like, there's probably a reason why, like, when Kenny Omega wrestled Okada, it would go long, but when he'd wrestle Lance Archer, it wouldn't.
There's also, I think, another, you said, like, it needs to be a fight, and between these two, the way they built it, yeah, it probably did need to be a fight, but how many people who watch, like, MMA and the fights are talking about the 30-minute fight that went to a draw? Nobody. They're talking about the second round knockout, the thing that went 10 minutes, and then it was just a definitive, like, I beat that ass kind of fight. That's the fight that draws.
Yeah.
See, if this was any other pay-per-view, I would give it a pass. But this is WrestleMania you're talking here. This isn't Hell in a Cell. This isn't TLC. Like,
exactly, and that's what makes it a moment.
This is WrestleMania. This is,
and to me, that's what makes it
the
a bigger
pinnacle of what you're showing
this
people.
Was Roman Reigns
that
proving
you need
he was the
fight.
pinnacle. That was the story of the match. Acknowledge Roman Reigns. He has beaten everybody, and he definitively beat the final boss of WWE for the last 10 years. And he put his ass to the fucking ground. Acknowledge Roman Reigns. That was the story. That was the moment. I hate to say it's a bad memory for me as a football fan, but it's like this. It was, here was the moment of the Super Bowl 48 was, here is the Legion of Boom telling Peyton Manning, you ain't got nothing on us. And we put your ass down. A lot of people remember that game because rarely do you see such a great quarterback get put down like that. That's the point. That's why people remembered that Super Bowl. That's why people might remember this match, because rarely, if ever, do you see Brock Lesnar just go, and you're done. There's more. Not everything. If everything was like that, then you wouldn't. And okay, let me put it to you this way: you can get away with it because it's WrestleMania. If this were Wrestle Kingdom, no. If this were Double or Nothing, no. Because those audiences wouldn't want that. WWE audience would be okay with this. And was okay with this. I mean, you might have some grumbling people on the internet, but I think everybody that went to WrestleMania will tell you, yeah, that was fine. That was fine. Hey, we weren't there for fucking 12 hours.
But shouldn't still some standards that WWE should have, because it is WrestleMania.
The standard is they cater to their audience.
I mean, they gave you a clean finish. They didn't do shenanigans.
Yeah.
WWE loves to do shenanigans in the main event, especially when it comes to those
hoping
two.
If Roman was going to win, it would be a tap out.
No.
Brock won't tap. I don't see them letting Brock submit.
This is just as definitive as a tap out to me.
Yeah.
It
would be a ref stoppage. They wouldn't have him tap. He wouldn't tap. He wouldn't agree to that.
You gotta know your audience, and the people,
Actually, okay, it was a pin. Sorry, I forgot.
You gotta know your audience. You gotta know when your audience. Here's another example. Like it's two different levels, but CJ and I went to Squared Circle Expo last year, and we'll be there again next weekend. And they had an independent show to go along with their convention, and everybody did their best, and everybody tried. And like at the main event was the longest match of the night. It was very slow paced, and JTG and Jake Oman wrestled well. I'm not going to say they had a bad match, but the audience was tired. The audience went through a whole day of a convention. The audience went through like a bunch of other matches with like a lot more shenanigans, and there's the headbangers, and there's a Nyla Rose match, and all these different things, going on, and then they have a long match, which maybe at any other show, under any other circumstances, would have been the right call. But it was not the right call because everybody was tired and they did not want to sit through a 25-minute wrestling match. As good as it could have been and was, and as hard as they worked, nobody wanted that. And the fans were kind of tired. They're kind of ready to just be done with the show, go to the after party, and listen to Sammy Guevara sing Judas. If this match would have gone on too much longer, you would have lost the audience, to me. Maybe not this audience, but the audience in Dallas, Texas. No, that's... You gotta... sometimes not everything has to be as long as it is. I get it. Now, if it would have been 12, if it would have been, Tommaso Ciampa and, AJ Styles going 12 minutes, I'd be pissed. But with it being Roman and Brock, I'll forgive it.
They're just going to keep, doing the video game moves anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Superman punch,
Superman punch, and then this.
Superman punch, spear.
Yeah.
They don't have a huge, there's a Tiger Driver, there is a and a tiddly floop, and...
A top rope Funkinator.
Yeah. They don't got it. It's very video gamey, like punch, 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 kick, pin. They're button mashing. They don't got a lot. It's fine. It works. It pulls in money. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I don't need 30 minutes of hit, 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 spear. Hit, 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 spear. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
By the way,
So
this reminds me, I do need to challenge Kenny Omega to a video game fight. I want to beat his ass in Mario Kart.
So, well, speaking of things that you're gonna be mad at, I don't think Cody Rhodes is gonna be around to pay you any money because he's in the WWE now.
Good for him.
So we're going to talk about Cody Rhodes and WWE. Yes, we're going to talk about the most toxic topic in pro wrestling. It happened. For months of will it or won't it, Dave saying it will, the internet saying no, Cody wouldn't do that. Cody has, in fact, done that. He's in the WWE. He did sign. He made his return at WrestleMania. He had his return promo on Monday Night Raw. Great promo, but, listen to, Toru Yano fan account probably hit the nail on the head. It was probably a little cliche for Cody standards, but this sort of thing works in WWE.
Which was ironic because apparently it wasn't scripted. It was completely from the heart.
But now, Cody Rhodes is back in WWE. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, were there opinions. Opinions such as burning Cody figures, calling him a sellout and a traitor, and hoping that Vince McMahon ruins his career to show him. Along with opinions like AEW in the mud because Cody Rhodes jumped ship. What kind of fucking company are you running if Cody Rhodes won't stay? And he was my favorite mid-carder back when AEW took off, but now he's just fucking steel. Whole lot of toxicity. So much toxicity that System of a Down was constantly playing. But we're going to have a word, and we're going to have a discussion about, now that it's happened, what do we think of Cody Rhodes in WWE, returning to WWE?
I don't know who wants to start.
You, go ahead.
All right, sure. Okay, so for me, it's like, so he did it. Like, obviously, before he would do it, I was one of those people where it's like, I really just don't think he would, because from what I said is that I would personally rather he focus on just, building his family that he's got with Brandy. They could still do some social media stuff, be behind the scenes with AEW, but clearly there must have been some sort of fallout between them. And thankfully,
I will say this much, though.
Because,
I will say this much, though. If Tony Khan told Cody Rhodes all those things, I don't blame the man for jumping.
Yeah.
But
Cody did say,
if Cody
he
didn't want to
doesn't
retire
hate
and Tony Khan
AEW.
said, well, yeah, no, he didn't. I think Cody's handled this whole thing well, but AEW Twitter in some cases does not feel that way.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like you hear different stories from the internet, and frankly, it just, again, it gets really toxic. I've been there, done that, unfortunately. And frankly, it puts me aside to the topic of, I actually just don't care. Because AEW can survive without Cody. AEW currently has been surviving without Kenny Omega. So I'm gonna be the screaming little 10-year-old. Well, at least 10-year-olds like selfish, or what, you'll get what I mean. Anyways, but when Kenny comes back, it's going to be amazing. But anyways, so with Cody just leaving and he wants to go back to WWE, it's like, okay, cool. Like, you do what you want, you have fun with it. So him, returning from WrestleMania, it was pretty amazing. My only worry is, are they going to, treat him as an equal, or are they just going to throw him aside as like a mid-carder, or worse, they toss him aside to NXT 2.0? But anyways, it's It's hard to say at this point and as of right now. But if Cody, he wants to further, one up his career and finally get that championship title run, that would honestly just be my expectation that if WWE wanted to go this big to getting Cody Rhodes back, you better damn well sure he is your champion by the time Survivor Series happens. I was going to say SummerSlam, but I thought, you know what? No, I'm just going to give WWE the benefit of a doubt with how creative and patient they can be. Cody better be your goddamn world champion when we have the Royal Rumble next year, when WrestleMania goes Hollywood. Because, come on, how would you not want to have Cody as your champion for next year at WrestleMania? I was going to say WrestleMania Hollywood, but let's face it, they don't use the numbers anymore, so we're just going to call it WrestleMania Hollywood. He better be your goddamn champion. As a world champion, actually, yes. I would have Cody Rhodes, of all people, be the one who beats Roman Reigns. I'm going to say SummerSlam. Because if anything, you want to be sure to beat AEW in the ratings or all that, Cody better be your fucking guy. Because he's the one that went from founding AEW, your competitor, to now he's joined back with you guys. So, and this is honestly coming on if we're going to talk football standards here, often when I'm watching my Patriots play, I'm honestly kind of looking and kind of like shouting at my TV screen, hey, here's how you can beat my Patriots. It's literally freaking simple. Some teams do it, some teams don't. So I'm literally telling WWE, hey, here's how you can make sure you are still the top of the pro wrestling sports entertainment world. If you signed Cody Rhodes back, he better be your goddamn champion. He better be on those little tractor trailer he better be on those tractor trailers, they pull in, and he's the one on the posters. He's the one in the programs. He's the one on your souvenir cups. He better be your goddamn guy. That CM Punk has been saying that he should have been your guy when he was still with you guys. Cody better be your face of the company. Roman can still be it. But if you put all this money to have one of the competitors, one of the founders of AEW to join you guys again, Cody should be your guy.
All right.
And if they screw that up, I'm not going to be surprised at the slightest.
Okay.
Obviously,
we gotta
hear
CJ's opinion because we gotta.
Yeah, sorry. I know we have a long show. CJ, floor's all yours.
I disagree. Here's what I have to say about that. Cody Rhodes. Now, when we talked about all this, when he left, when he did this and that, everybody said WWE, and I said I don't think so, because Cody spent a long time talking about how horrible it was there, and we wouldn't do that to you, and if you go there, you're probably going to have that done to you. So if anything disparaging happens to Cody, he knew very well what was on the table. He's a smart guy. He either negotiated it into his contract that he can leave when he wants to. He can end the contract when he wants to without a non-compete clause. He has creative control. He obviously has some creative control because he has an executive producer role for a documentary about his father. That's all well and good. Cody's trajectory in WWE. If he came out when he came out Monday, Cody disappointed me with the choice, personally. I'm not a toxic internet person screaming like, how dare he, and flipping him off at the camera. I'm still along for the Cody ride. He's been one of my favorites for a really long time because I have what I feel is a very personal connection with Cody based on the fact that we both lost our fathers very, very young. So when Cody comes out and puts a microphone in his hand, he talks about Dusty and he cries. He gets teary-eyed. He gets emotional. I feel that in my soul. It's something that I deal with a lot. And so help me God, Cody, if that ever turns out to be a work, I'm never going to be a fan again. The thing about it is, if I'm booking Cody has a very, very long road to the top. Um, if the ultimate goal and why he came back, and then this is what he came out and he stated Monday, is the ultimate goal is because he can't put that world title that his dad never held in his hands anymore. He's going to win that belt for Dusty. He's going to put it on his own waist for the Rhodes family, for Dusty, for his brother, for himself, for whoever. He's going to do it. He signed a multi-year deal. Why would you make the end goal happen in 6 months? Then he has multiple years just to what? Just have the title like, yep, still got it, guys. Like, we've seen over decades that the money is in the chase in wrestling. You don't just throw the belt on the babyface and let him have a big, long run. That just doesn't work very well unless you're Hulk Hogan. And even then, it really didn't work that well for the belt. I think that you have to give Cody failure. You have to really endear him to your audience. And like he tries like hell, but you know, the bloodline gets him here or Brock gets him there. And he doesn't need to be the one that beats Roman, because if you listen to the fan reactions for their crowds, he doesn't need to be the made man. He doesn't need that cap, that feather in his cap to be the guy. He's going to be a top star. Will he be on a trailer? Yeah, probably will. He will have, you know, cereals and ice cream bars and all the things. And that's not necessarily with a belt. You know, you didn't go see the Avengers movie to watch the last like 30 minutes of the big in-game fight where they finally defeat Thanos, and you didn't get the first movie and you didn't get the first hour and a half. You just watched the 30 minutes and you go, man, that was a damn good movie. I'm really glad that I watched that little piece of it and not the long epic that took you on the journey. Cody just got here. He's got to take us on the journey. You got to really, really get invested like some of us already are. I have that. I feel that I'm on that journey with Cody. I feel that the life is to constantly attain the proud moment with your father that you're never going to actually get. There's not a lot of other people in this world that's going to have that connection with Cody. He's got to get them on board. He's got to get them on the ride first, and then he can start going for that title. He can lose a couple of times. You can really build that ride. And when he finally gets that, maybe in a year, maybe two, that end goal after that 2-year build is like nothing else. And unfortunately, he can't hold on to it very long.
His dad never held on to it for very long.
It's a Dusty finish for a reason, and Dusty understood the business, and the money is in the chase. I think that's been part of Hangman's problem, honestly, is that, you know, the money in that title reign was in the chase. It's not in the holding. It's always in that chase.
Yeah. So my perspective on everything. I mean, I want to see Cody Rhodes win the WWE title. Like, it's the only thing I care about in WWE. It's AJ Styles gets a real main event with the crowd, and Cody wins the title. That's all I care about from WWE anymore. To people that will watch the show on a more regular basis, they can be invested in this. Like, this can work. As far as how I feel about Cody, I mean, there's disappointment. I'm disappointed he's not, you know, I'm not going to get like my, you know, chaotic, evil, you know, listen to the angry fans as he beats Hangman Page and goes back on his word dream scenario that I wanted. But from everything I'm reading, you know, Cody felt creatively stifled. I mean, not stifled, but it's like he felt like he was treading water. He felt because of what he does as far as community service that, you know, he didn't want to go the bad side of things. Fans in AEW did not like him anymore, and have been bitching about Cody Rhodes since probably the middle of 2020. So now all of a sudden you're mad at, you know, You said you want him off your TV for, a year and a half, and now he is, so what the fuck are you pissed off about? And he's said it was an easy decision. Maybe it was. AEW is not like a cause. AEW is a job. WWE is a job. ROH is a job. New Japan is a job. Impact Wrestling is a job. You can have passion for your job. You can have kinship in your job. It's work. Do the work. It is work. And Cody went to where he was going to feel more satisfied in his work. And if he felt there was nothing left for him to do in AEW, and he couldn't be creative, and everybody's saying, well, why did he make that stipulation where he wasn't going to win the title, and then he could have been champion there? They were calling him Jeff Jarrett, saying that he was a failure as a wrestler, so he had to start his own to be TNT champion. How well do you think that's going to get over with the AEW fan base, even if that stipulation didn't get put in? They'd have been going, oh, fucking mid-card Cody had to start his own company to be world champion. Derm-de-derm-de-derm-de-derm. So maybe to someone like Cody that hears that, maybe the only way he feels he can prove he's a top guy is by doing it in the WWE, where nobody controls their own destiny but one man in WWE. Easy was saying that, maybe Tony Khan told him that he needs to take a backstage role. If Cody still thought he was had potential to be a top guy and got told, you need to take a backstage role, the first thing I'd want to do is leave AEW if I was Cody Rhodes. Because that is basically you telling an athlete that thinks he's still good to go that you need to be put out to pasture. That is the Green Bay Packers saying, hey, Brett Favre, you should want to just hold the clipboard for Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Peyton Manning, you're done in Indy. Hey, Tom Brady, we may not offer you any more money. That you want to leave.
Well, that actually happened.
Yeah. Well, but much like Tom Brady wanted to show the Patriots that he could win without Belichick. He heard everybody say through 6 Super Bowls, it's not you, it's the system. It's not you, it's the system. It's not you, it's the system. It's Bill Belichick, not Tom Brady. Tom Brady had to go elsewhere to try and win one without Bill Belichick to go, nope, it's me. It's me. I'm the reason. There were, I know CJ's not one of them, there were Colts fans that were telling Peyton Manning, you should have just retired. You should have retired as a Colt. When your career as an Indianapolis Colt was over, you should have ended it. And he's like, nope, I got something left in the tank. There were people saying that Brett Favre should have been honored to stay a Packer and mentor Aaron Rodgers. And he's like, nope, I got some more time left in me. If that is what happened to Cody Rhodes, I would have called Vince immediately after Tony Khan told me you need to take a backstage role. You say you're not good enough to wrestle anymore. If Tony Khan did that, the first thing I'd want to do is leave. Is that what happened? I don't know. None of us do. But yeah.
See, from my just point of view is mostly I just see whether it's on BTE or highlights from Roast to the Top, I'm always just seeing Cody is doing a backstage role. And then when he does fight, okay, he does fight. So I'm not saying permanently he should have had a backstage role with AEW. I just thought, he was actually doing a good job with producer.
Well, but he didn't. He wanted to be
a. We don't know what happened.
Everybody spins it as he wanted control and they wouldn't let him have it, and derm. It's like, okay, so he feels like there's nothing left for him to do in AEW that would feel legit. He's not allowed to be the booker, and he's not going to get the pay raise he wants. I mean, the pay raise is the first world problem, but if he's not going to get the 3 things that he wants from AEW, why should he stay other than to have people go, yes, the cause is in effect?
Well,
my only thought was he would probably go to Ring of Honor.
Because maybe he knew what was going on.
Why didn't he go to Ring of Honor? What is there to do for him in Ring of Honor? What let's look at what is there left to do in pro wrestling for Cody Rhodes? We've already established that If he there's a very, very fine possibility that he may not see him winning his own championship as legitimate because he got a lot of flack for just simply winning the TNT title. Cody didn't have the street cred of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, which when they won the AEW tag titles and world titles respectively, they were the kings of the world taking their throne. But Cody would be like, oh, hey, Jeff Jarrett, you had to start your own to be a world champion, didn't you? So maybe he felt that way. Then if he went to Ring of Honor, what is there to do in Ring of Honor for him? He's already kind of been there and done that with Ring of Honor. He hasn't been there and fully shown that he can do it in the WWE. You know, he is taking the character that he created, entrance, music, promo style, look, everything, to WWE. When have we, other than maybe AJ, sans music, who else has gotten that? Maybe that's the challenge. Do I think that there's a very, 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 very big opportunity that Cody could, become just another guy by Raw? Yeah. That's a strong possibility. He could be nothing to the WWE like that. But do I see, as Al Gore would say, an inconvenient truth that maybe, just maybe, AEW wasn't going to fit him anymore? Things change. Aspirations change. Goals change. And maybe whenever... Does the words of the song and all those interviews where he's like, I want to stay here, seem hollow now? Fuck yeah, they do. But do I also know that life changes and sometimes it just takes one bad day at work to go, I don't want to work here anymore? It takes one comment from your boss to go, oh, I guess this isn't as fun anymore. I guess this isn't what I thought it was. Well, if it's not going to be what I thought it was, I might as well do these things.
And you got thousands, hundreds, millions of people telling you for every day for years, well, I guess you did have to go to make your own company to finally make yourself a big deal, didn't you? The only way he's ever going to not get that is if he goes back to the big deal and is the guy. If he gets that belt, then nobody can call him Jeff Jarrett anymore. Yeah. It's a personal vindication. And also, never say never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stay at McDonald's for $10 an hour when I can go over to Burger King and make $15. I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing what I like to do, but I'm getting paid more money. Why the hell wouldn't I go do that?
Mm-hmm. If you're going to be a grunt either way, at least chase the money.
If the Burger King manager says, I'm not going to change a thing about you, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's not broke, don't fix it. He puts that in my contract with $15 an hour, then I'm signing the deal.
Mm-hmm. So, Cody, I put this on Twitter. Cody Rhodes and the rest of the wrestlers in the business don't owe any of us shit. And Cody Rhodes has helped create AEW because, yes, Cody Rhodes helped create AEW. Yes, AEW would not exist if it were not for Cody Rhodes. You can do your backflips and your back talk and go, actually, if it wasn't for Tony Khan. Actually, if it wasn't for Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. All in don't sell out without Cody Rhodes. Sorry, I don't think it does. I know that's the wrong thing to say because he's not, the right guy to like even then, much less now. But no, you take Cody out of the equation, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't happen. And you can say he was never good, you could say he latched on, you can say whatever. Wrestling business is not a business of nobility. Sorry to say. It's not. We love it. We love talking about it. We can talk about the great experiences meeting people like, Britt Baker and Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega and The Miz and all these people we've met and all the things we've seen them do and how that's really, really cool. The wrestling business is not a business of nobility. It is a business. It is a hustle that owes nobody, including the fans and the people in it, anything. And sometimes you gotta look after yourself. And sometimes you gotta go, I gotta do what's best for me, because I don't know if they're always gonna do what's best for me. So, yeah. That's pretty much all I got to say on the matter. Director, you love Cody and you're a traitor to the cause. Tweets at athletic_geek89. But we're going to light the fuse and bring the boom now. And talk AEW Dynamite really quickly, because it's a long episode. We have the first match, which is Adam Cole versus Christian Cage. This match was good. I actually think Christian's a better in-ring wrestler than Edge nowadays. So, I don't know. Anything else anybody else wants to add? That's about all I can say about it.
This entire show just felt like a pay-per-view. Every match was honestly just phenomenal. Minus one match.
I'm gonna disagree with you heavily on that one. There were a lot of matches that were just kind of, yeah, okay, cool, neato.
I know. Yeah. I was gonna say there are some that were okay, cool, but Adam Cole and Christian Cage, how these two have never met shocks me. But it was just a great match. Great match to open up the card, and then especially the confrontation with Hangman later, and then one of my favorite match types ever for next week, a Texas death match. Yes. Give us the Adam and Adam show again. I'm gonna love every minute of it.
All right. CJ, anything you want to say about this match?
No.
Okay.
No. It was good.
Moving on, we have Max Caster versus Smojo. Smojo kicked his ass, and that's exactly what needed to happen.
Or better known as Max Caster's funeral, because even I knew, as a diehard Acclaim fan, he was going to die.
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys say, but that was my favorite rap that Max Caster did.
I don't understand. How is that a knock on him? He was not the champion when they were beating them, because they'd already, by the time Smojo became champion, they weren't competing against each other anymore. And two, when he was
supposed to be the jab.
And whenever Smojo was in the X Division, that was him at his best. This was not good. I guess you realized you couldn't own Joe and you were going to die, so you spit some bullshit out.
That was supposed to be the point. It's like he knows he was going to die.
Yeah, he spit some bullshit out. Lethal and Sanjay together was kind of cool. I'm really not sure how I feel about. I know it's going to happen at first, but I'm hoping after ROH really gets established and back off the ground, they don't cross the streams as much anymore. But
I feel like this is temporary.
I hope so. I hope it's just temporary.
I would love Ring of Honor to get a show again. It would be nice.
Captain Sean Dean versus... CJ, anything you want to say about Samoa Joe being back? I know you're the Joe fan.
I'm just really happy Samoa Joe's back.
Captain Sean Dean versus Sean Spears. I like what they're doing with the Wardlow thing. That's cool. Sean Dean always seems to get one over on the Pinnacle, but this was just kind of there. It served its purpose. Again, not everything has to be an epic. Sometimes things just got to serve their purpose. Yeah. Segment with Eddie Kingston. That's cool.
Eddie.
Eddie
too.
Never gonna bitch about a good Eddie Kingston promo ever.
When is there never not a good Eddie Kingston promo?
Exactly.
The limit does not exist.
Yeah, there is no.
Just like an MJF promo. It's sad for me to say it. There's never not a good promo.
Oh, there's been a few with MJF that weren't that great, but more hits than misses. Jade and Smart Mark Sterling with the baddies section, including the one man who dressed up like a Hooters girl to get in there. And when when the other baddies said he's not allowed, Jade said he was. So the fact that I got to see him in the front row after following that on Twitter was really cool. And I'm liking Jade Cargill more and more following her on Twitter. She seems like an awesome person.
And her daughter's super cute. Like when she won the TBS title and she came to the ring.
Yeah, Jade is
It's always tugging my heartstrings.
salt of the earth, that woman. Salt of the earth. A real salt of the earth.
A literal badass. Like a
Mhm.
literal, I called my shot. I used to take my shot. I shot my shot. Banked it kind of lady.
He's
Yeah.
basically generation's China, honestly.
I
Yeah,
can
the
see
ninth
that.
wonder of the world beat the 10th.
Here's a match that I hated. Butcher and Blade versus the Hardy Boys. Didn't like this much.
It was confusing. And when JR even gets confused, you know it's confusing.
No, JR gets confused a lot now.
JR gets
No, in
confused
this
waking
case,
up.
he was literally wondering, wait, if Jeff was eliminated, why was he the one that got the winner? And even I'm like, I was so dead confused. I was like, wait, I'm what? And also, Jeff didn't even go through a table. The table literally just broke, but it didn't like break like most table matches did. It just kind of fell flat on the ring. Like I love a good tables match here and there, but this one just kind of felt like rules. What rules?
Yeah, it's hard to follow all around.
This
Yeah.
was bad.
Bad. This was bad.
This was bad. Not. We just talked about the baddies, and that's a good thing. This was the bad kind of bad. This is the go away heat. This is the took me all the way out of the show, and I really wasn't into it again until like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hikaru Shida versus Julia Hart. Really doing some stuff with Julia. You can see, I think she's got a black thing under her eye, or under that eye patch, like Malachi Black now. So
Yeah,
that's
she's
cool.
got the makeup going.
Yeah, that's going to be cool whenever she joins up with them, and there's going to be a woman in that stable. That's going to be really cool. Match was okay. Julia's, she's still young, and she's only going to get better.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Maybe she's the real Sister Abigail. It's a joke.
Don't put
It's a
that evil
joke.
on her.
A
But
joke.
then finally comes to the thing that there's nothing we can say is going to make it do it justice. FTR versus Young Bucks 2 for the Ring of Honor and AAA Tag Team Championships. Better than their first encounter. Amazing match.
Inject this shit into my veins.
Yep, this was fucking great. This was.
This is match of the year candidate. I'm sorry.
And here's the thing.
Really was.
This is the second one they've apparently had. I haven't seen the Briscoes match yet, but I've heard that's amazing. I'll let you know how I felt about it tomorrow on social media after I watch it. But yeah, nothing that any of us can say will make that match seem any better or be any more viable. Just watch it. Just watch the match. This, I don't always love the Young Bucks, but this is, the Young Bucks played their role perfectly. FTR's best tag team in the world. You can give FTR all the tag belts as far as I'm concerned. There's said tag belts out there, FTR should have them. That's how damn good they are. So, yeah, it was a long one. But that is it for us. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please give it a like, share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from the world of comic books, gaming, anime, and all things geek culture. Follow me on my social media pages, facebook.com/athleticgeekA9, Twitter athletic_geekA9, Instagram athleticgeekA9. Help support this channel financially if you so desire on Patreon, patreon.com/athleticgeekA9. EZ has a Twitter. And then we're going to cut this one off because it's been a long episode.
You're good. Follow me at the Twitter, ERIKZARINS.
Yep, and CJ has Twitter as well.
At CJTMall0.
All right, so for CJ and EZ, we are just Marks, and we're out. Have a good one.